Welcome to episode 77. Today we'll be talking about the Disney movie slate, more Ming-Na Wen in Star Wars, and Jamie Alexander back at Thor, and more. You are listening to Castles, Capes, and Clones podcast, where we discuss everything in the Disney universe, from Disney films to Marvel, from Pixar to Star Wars, from ABC to the Muppets. If you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post. Hi everybody, I'm Loren, and I'm here with my cousin and co-pilot, Rich. How are you doing?
Doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I've just been busy analyzing things and stuff like that.
Yeah. I just got work.
Fun times.
Yeah, and I don't really get a holiday break. So
yeah.
Unfortunately.
If it makes you feel any better, it feels like work.
Oh yeah, I know. I used to do community management for a video game company, so
yeah,
I know how it gets.
Yeah, it's just all a bunch of numbers and things like that. So it's a bunch of fun, though. I'm enjoying it.
There you go. At least you're having fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we have a lot of news to get through, so let's get to it. I know. You know, I thought that after the Investor Day call that the news would kind of slow down a little bit, but we got a lot of news. So anyway, we start our news from within the castle gates for our Disney news. Disney stock shattered records after Investor Day call. It jumped $20 plus in the stock market price, which roughly translates to a 14% increase. And as with my one stock, I'm so excited about that news.
About to say, like, I wish I bought some stock in. Yeah. I mean, just the one, like that's just a one share. Just to say, I have one share in Disney.
Yeah, like it's just a one share.
Yeah, so there you go. But I should have bought it like in the beginning of the pandemic, if I was ever going to buy it.
Yeah, I know. I should have bought more stock, and I don't know how to buy more stock. I looked, and it all goes back to getting that kind of certificate, and doing one stock. So I'm sure that there's a way. I don't know these financial things and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
I actually don't know. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure I can find it, but who knows now?
Yeah.
Now it's 20. It's 20 more bucks. So
right, exactly, 20 more bucks. So all right. Well, moving on. As of December 2nd, Disney has gotten 86.8 million global paid subscribers for just Disney Plus alone, and their goal was to have 60 to 90 subscribers by 2024. That's insane that they already have met that well before 2024.
I'm surprised, but not surprised at the same time. Like, I knew they get a lot of subscribers.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, the state of the world plays a big part of that.
That's true. I think that the pandemic definitely has played into that.
This guy.
Yeah.
Also helped. Little Grogu, I think, also helped.
Right.
That number.
So true.
And that's just the one Star Wars content that we have. We never got any of the Marvel stuff and all the other Star Wars stuff. So with the Investor Day announcements from last week, like who knows what's going to happen with the Marvel shows and what those numbers will bring.
Yeah, because that's a whole new demographic of people who might not have subscribed yet to Disney Plus, who might want to watch WandaVision, and all the other shows, the Winter Soldier, Loki, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, especially everyone who loves the movies, and they've made it very clear that these all kind of lead into or are associated with the movies in some way, shape, or form. So, like, if you want to watch Doctor Strange, some of that stuff carries over from like WandaVision.
Right. I mean, their plan for Disney Plus, Marvel's plan, is really a great plan because it almost makes you dependent on watching the Disney Plus shows in order to understand some of the, or maybe not to understand it, but to get the full story. Yeah.
It's like comics. It is like the comics.
Right.
Like, when the X-Men did a big like crossover title, to get the full story, you had to buy all the little titles. So you had to go buy like X Factor and all those kind of things that maybe weren't the main title line.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for story, so I bought every single title that was connected to whatever big event I was reading. So
right.
It works the same way. I think Star Wars is headed that direction too. So
yeah.
All we need now is a shared Disney universe.
Yeah. I know. that would make a lot of people happy with their.
I was hoping it would
theories.
be like DuckTales and Rescue Rangers, to bring all those people, all those shows back and have it all interconnected.
Goof Troop and Tailspin. Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun. I still have hope that DuckTales will move to Disney Plus, and that this cancellation on Disney Channel is because they're moving to Disney Plus. That's my hope.
I feel like, because I forgot that it's on Disney Channel.
Yeah.
That's probably why I didn't watch like the latest episode, because I was wait for whatever. I don't really watch, and technically speaking, I don't have cable, so that's why it kind of fell off the radar for me.
Right.
With Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and HBO Max, I don't have real need to watch cable. So if DuckTales was like a show on Disney Plus, like that's where you get the new episodes.
Yeah,
I'd be more inclined to watch it because I'll know, all right, new episode is out this week or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
So hopefully, maybe we can start a petition.
Yeah, I know, right? Change.org.
Release the DuckTales.
Release the ducks.
Release the ducks. Let's start hashtagging quack, quack, quack.
Yeah.
And then Emilio Estevez is like, we are bringing Mighty Ducks back. I'm like, not that duck. Emilio. We know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's move on. According to the Disney Insider, which is exclusive for them, Alan Silvestri is going to compose Disney Plus's Pinocchio with Glenn Ballard writing new songs. I think Glenn Ballard co-wrote the songs for Tangled. And I'm familiar with Alan Silvestri. Like, I know that I've listened to a lot of his scores, but unfortunately okay. I know. I was going to say for I can't name anything, but I know he's very, very big, and I know. I
mean, his best or most popular, most well known is the Back to the Future.
Right. Got it. Yes. So that's exciting.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what this movie looks like with Tom Hanks as the whale.
Yeah, that's
because it's funny. Like I'm still I'm old enough to remember Tom Hanks as the goofy bosom buddies, the guy from like
Right?
Volunteer, like he was like the goofball or
Yeah.
Dragnet's characters, and now he's like America's dad.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
It's so crazy. I love bosom buddies.
right.
So I
So
just want the Pinocchio to look more like the anime. I really don't want to watch this movie if they have him in. They often have this Pinocchio with a round head and a big wooden nose and very thin body, looking really like a puppet.
like a puppet, like
Yeah,
he was in was it Once Upon a Time? Was there a version of him
yeah,
in there? Yeah, I mean, it's still Disney, so I feel like they're gonna Disneyfy it to make it a little more look like Pinocchio in a
yeah.
way,
I'm really hoping.
because Disney's version of Pinocchio is very iconic,
Right.
obvi.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, is Tom Hanks playing Geppetto, or is he
Yeah,
who's
he's
Jimmy?
playing.
Is there to me a Jiminy Cricket
I'm sure that there will
as
be.
a
I
cricket,
can't.
and not like this is my pal Jimmy Cricket?
Yeah.
That's his last name, but he's a normal dude.
I'm sure. I mean, he's such an iconic character that I can't imagine. I say this, but and Mushu is such an iconic character. He was in Mulan, but
Their approach to Milan was more not to say historic, but like epic, sweeping kind of
yeah,
Asian movie,
yeah.
right?
And I believe that Jiminy Cricket is in the actual story, so it would seem odd that they wouldn't put Jiminy Cricket in this story.
Yeah.
Also, given his iconic status. So,
Yeah.
but oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, this is a storybook like fable, whereas Mulan is sort of either based on legend or some hint of historical something reference in there.
Yeah, it's an ancient legend. So from a poem, I think that it was. Yeah.
So I think they're gonna. I expect maybe it's not gonna look 1-to-1 like Pinocchio, but I'm sure it's not gonna be like the realistic approach to it, where it's gonna be a more fantastical style.
Right. I think so too.
Right.
All right. So we learned through the Disney Insider again, exclusive to them, new details for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. So it seems like the story will be that Chip and Dale are living life in mediocrity, and now they have to renew their partnership to try and save a friend from a fate worse than death: video piracy. So interesting.
So it's a Ghostbusters 2.
I guess so.
I wonder. I mean, it takes place in the real world, right?
Yeah,
that's what they said. I wonder what that's about.
Right. I know. I just hope that they stick to the spirit of the original, and they have things like Fat Cat and all those, all those things. Especially Fat Cat. Fat Cat is kind of like their main villain. So
something. I mean,
and
I don't know. Like I'm skeptical only because I wish they didn't go the Alvin and the Chipmunks route and have have them be in real life, but realistically the size of chipmunks.
Right.
Kind of like Alvin and the Chipmunks did. Because it's kind of weird. I mean, like, granted, yes, the TV show Alvin and the Chipmunks had them like as toddler size, like kid-sized animals. But whatever. We suspend disbelief on that.
Right.
But it's just weird that the world will embrace these talking actual chipmunks
Yeah, it's going to be.
I feel like that's more far-fetched than like kid-sized chipmunks for some weird reason.
Yeah. Although, truth be told, I love the Chipmunks movies. I'm a fan.
I mean, they're okay to me, but like I'm more of a fan of the actual chipmunks.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah. There's nothing to beat them.
Yeah, it's just like that's why like a lot of the charm of the Rescue Rangers was that they were,
mm-hmm.
that was their world.
Yeah,
right? It wasn't in a human world,
right?
So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I was saying. I said I hope that at least they, maybe they're in the real world, but they, I just don't want to have like a Neil Patrick Harris and Smurfs kind of thing going on where there's a human character that takes all the glory from the actual characters, and that,
or like the approach of the rescuers, because they were in the real world,
right?
So they weren't inhabiting a world of like Zootopia and stuff, where it like that is the world.
Yeah.
They were in a human world, but they operated and they had the kind of like that, secret like animal world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I mean that's a good idea, and I hope that they do that too, because it is.
And then they meet the rescuers.
Right.
And then your world would be blown away.
Now I want Bernard and Bianca to be in this. I love them.
I know.
All right, so let's go to the next story, which is we're going to go over the Disney slate for what we know between 2021 and 2023. The Kingman's prequel to Matthew Vaughn's Kingsman series is moving back 1 month to March 12th, 2021. Searchlight's Antlers has been taken off its February 2021 spot and is undated. The animated Raya and the Last Dragon, which will now debut on Disney Plus and in theaters simultaneously, is moving up to March 5th, 2021. Ryan Reynolds' gaming movie, Free Guy, has set for May 21, 2021. While 20th Century and Kenneth Branagh's Death on the Nile is slated for September 2021, which is interesting because that was supposed to come out fairly recently. So they are really moving these movies around.
Yeah, the Free Guy was supposed to come out.
Yeah, not too long.
Like now-ish. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So anyway. The newly announced animated movie Encanto will open on November 24th, 2021. On the Marvel front, Thor Love and Thunder is moving back a few months to May 6th, 2022, while Black Panther 2 departs that May date and will move to July 8th, 2022, and Captain Marvel 2 will move from July to November 11th, 2022. Then the Pixar movie Turning Red is set for March 11th, 2022, while Lightyear, a take on the man who inspired the Buzz Lightyear toy from Toy Story franchise, will open June 17th, 2022. That's so interesting that Pixar is opening 2 movies like not too far, March, April, May, June. So 3 months from each other. Interesting. Yeah. And then the last one that we know is Rogue Squadron, which is a new Star Wars movie loosely based on the popular video game, directed by Patty Jenkins, will open December 22nd, 2023. Anything stand out to you?
I feel like the Rogue Squadron description is wrong.
Really?
One, there is no popular game called Rogue Squadron. Well, there is, but it's not. It's definitely not
what it's based on.
Yeah, the Rogue Squadron is an old game that was based on all the original trilogy movies.
I see.
And we know this is not going to be that, unless we're talking about Squadrons, which is also not correct. So I don't know.
What is it called?
Well, there's Squadrons, but it's not like based on the description of the movie from last week. This is also not that. This movie is not based on that game either.
Oh! There's a game called Squadrons.
Yeah, which is a Star Wars game, but it takes place in an era that's not at all kind of what they said in this movie in last week's description of the movie. And plus, that I don't know. Don't base it off that game. That's all I'm saying. Gotcha. So this might be just kind of like buzzwords and whatever. Right. It's not going to be based. I think it's dangerous to say it's based off a video game because that just brings in all the fanboys who love any kind of video game to speculate and whatever. So I don't know. I don't I don't agree with that. I am not sure Black Panther 2 is going to be in 2022. I think they had to rewrite the whole movie.
True.
From last week, they said that Coogler is working on the story now.
Yeah.
And I think, with Chadwick's passing, they really have to change the story. It's not going to be similar to like when Carrie Fisher died and Rise of Skywalker had to be, retold because she was still like a secondary character.
Right. And they had a lot of footage of her.
Yeah. And but she wasn't the movie, whereas obviously Black Panther, Chadwick was the main character.
Right. I'm glad that they're not recasting him. I just think that would be wrong. I'm curious to see how they're going to go. I hope, I have there's a way in my head that I hope that they'll go, that I know that a lot of fans would want them to go as well. So, except for that one segment of fandom that hates anything where a woman is cut in front of.
I have a feeling this movie is going to be about legacies and who inherits it. Like, I don't think it's going to start off with like, and blah 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 is now Black Panther. I think it's going to be the search. It's going to be the search for who should be. Like, maybe it's like, reluctancy of trying to take on this. Whatever they choose to do with T'Challa. But I think it's going to be about that, and I think that's going to need like. I would want them to take their time to craft a really good story and not rush it. That's why I'm skeptical that a movie like this opening in a year and a half, unless that story is done. But like they said last week that he's still working kind of on it. Like any kind of pre-production they had almost has to be scrapped. Except for maybe some design work, but like any kind of animatics they might have had, any kind of set pieces might have changed, characters, who was going to be the villain or villains, which character, because there was talk of maybe Storm coming in. And
I know, God, that's so sad. I was really looking forward to a T'Challa Storm relationship. Yeah. I mean, maybe not getting married, but just some kind of relationship between them.
Yeah. And I think Namor was hinted that he might be their antagonist.
Yeah. That would be incredible. That would be great.
Like, it still could happen, but they could probably have the same villain or whatever, right. But the story around it has changed significantly because Black Panther is no longer there, really.
I mean, maybe it is where he, you know, invades Wakanda, and I don't know how they're going to write the death of T'Challa, but then it's up to, you know, who is going to be the new Black Panther, and I'm sure that it's going to involve what was that test that they had to do at the falls? What's their name to that? I forgot.
Probably.
Yeah. But I think everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that was more of a challenge to it. I think this would be different if, because when T'Challa's dad died, he just inherited because he was the next in line.
Right.
If they follow that, does it go to Shuri? Because, you know, she would be the next sibling, or do they have like a weird, they have to.
Well, that's the thing, is that because that challenge was for the Black Panther role. So, and that's why when, what's his name? Killmonger? Is that his name? You know who I'm talking about. Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. Killmonger.
That's how he became Black Panther.
Right, but there was still someone needed to challenge T'Challa because he was in line for it. It wasn't anyone who wanted to be it, go fight. It was like, okay, well, this is who should get it. Who here wants to challenge that decision, that lineage? This is the time.
Right.
So there's still, that's what I was saying, like, you know, it doesn't seem like their society is one that, you know, separates the women from the men to like I feel like there's like equal importance there, right? So I don't think it's going to be that. You got like, you know, like in kind of historical terms with most of, especially like European, whatever, it's like women would never be the next in line for whatever, because it'll have to go to the male heir of whatever.
Yeah.
That's so I don't think I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Wakandan society is like that. So, and maybe like, and Shuri doesn't strike me as someone who wants that role at all.
Yeah, in the movie version, in the comic version, she did, but in the movie version, so it might be a reluctant kind of thing. You know, so I don't know. We'll have to see.
It's almost like she has to go through her own hero's journey. So if she is the one to take it, it makes the most sense.
Right.
I feel like she's going to be reluctant to it because, you know, the movie portrayal of her is not someone who you'd think would want it.
Right.
But it's like, you know, her destiny and it's her calling. And then that's what the movie is going to be about in the face of whatever threat is happening to Wakanda.
Right.
You know. So
anyway, yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. So Disney Plus has shut down production on Big Shots, which starred John Stamos and Yvette Nicole Brown. They shut it down for the rest of 2020. Not canceled, but just shut it down. And this is kind of the second one that they've shut down, which makes a lot of sense to me because, you know, the way things are going in the world, as we mentioned.
Yeah, and apparently it's getting harder to, you know, globally, and you know, and I said this before. I have a very large group of international employees, so I get how things are in different parts of the world, and sometimes it's not dissimilar from the U.S. So it's not like a U.S. thing where people are not adhering to any kind of guidelines or whatever, or, you know, the world is, you know, everyone in the world is getting tired of it.
Yeah.
But some people are taking that as, well, I'm just gonna forget that it exists. And you know, as recent recordings of Tom Cruise show, like, it's starting to seep into Hollywood where like some people are not going to take it seriously or getting more relaxed, and then, you know, productions have to think about everybody involved and future people involved. So if it gets to the point where your production just can't, like, you have people in there who do not follow the rules,
Right.
it puts everyone in danger. And then at that point,
Yeah.
You have to shut things down.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I mean, some people it might be the flu, but people like me, that means hospitalization and almost a death. So it's, you can't, I just don't want to give it to somebody else. Now I'm completely negative and I have antibodies, so I can't, but at the same time, if I weren't under this condition, and I haven't had COVID, and then I did get COVID, but I didn't know about it, and started giving it to people, that would be the worst.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's probably the safest. It's going to be a weird year. I feel like we're going to look back at these productions and we're going to all notice, there's no more crowd scenes in some of these movies. There's no intimacy, and there's no this is a weird time period where for 2 years movies will be just this weird social distant looking movie, but trying not to look social distant, but totally is social distant.
Right.
And maybe, and the future of movies right now is still kind of questionable. HBO and Warner Brothers and stuff moving their slate to HBO Max. Is that the right move? Is it so, these productions cost money. Will movie studios be making money to keep these things going? So sucks, but the answer is we just need to get through this. Hopefully this vaccine works, and within, it'll take some time, but hopefully next year we'll go back to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, I hope so. One can only hope.
Yep.
All right, so there's a couple of fun Muppets news. The first one is that new episodes of Ned to Earth will be returning on January 1st to Disney Plus, which is interesting because it didn't quite get a lot of good reviews. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was the best show, but I enjoyed it. And so it's interesting that they, got a second season, but I hope that they have taken some of the comments that people have and kind of built it into the new show. I definitely will watch it for sure. And how about you? Would you watch it?
I can see, even if it wasn't the best show, I can see why. It looks to be a show that they can do in COVID. It's usually the one or two, a couple guest stars, but they're never really a group of them together. It's usually just one-on-one. So there's
it's always one-on-one.
And then obviously the crew. I don't know how big it takes, how many people it takes to do all those puppetry and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
a couple people.
They can still keep it relatively small because there's not a lot of actors involved.
That's true. Right?
So, if you're a puppeteer, you can be off camera and have face mask, face shields, whatever. Whereas if you're on camera talent, you have to have all that kind of stuff out. So there's a lot of precautions. So, but with just the 1 to 3 guest stars, they can mitigate all that kind of stuff. So it makes it a little bit easier than having a full-on extras. I don't even want to think about how they deal with extras on a set now.
Right.
So I can see why this would go on, even though I honestly didn't think it would come back. I'm just all right, they tried. Kind of like some of the other Muppet stuff. They tried, it didn't really hit, and then they'll just go away for a little bit, and then someone will try something different.
Yeah. It's disappointing. I don't know why they haven't been able to kind of, find that spark that they did in the Muppets movie that had Josh, what's his name? Josh Segal? Is that his name?
Oh, not Josh Segal.
Is it Josh? No, it's not Josh.
No. The guy from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, I just can't remember his name. Seagal, I know is his last name, but or
Yeah, I don't
Siegel.
remember. It's
Oh
Siegel.
my God, yeah, and Amy
But
Adams.
I
They
think it's
really got the characters down there and really got the humor and things like that.
yeah.
But why they haven't been able to pick that up since? Although I have to say,
Nope.
a lot of people complained about. I watched it again, all episodes, and I found it to be funny. I know that some people say that they didn't get the characters, but for what they were going for, they did, you know. And
Yeah. I think it's just partly also maybe the format is not something
I
people
think it was
want.
because it was adult oriented too.
Yeah. I think I mean like yeah, they need to find that balance of having kids want to watch it
Right.
and also appealing to the
Adults.
adults that have the nostalgia for it.
Right.
You know, I think that's why the whole Office thing didn't work when they tried that route. It was
Probably.
because like at the heart of it, Muppets should be for kids, and if it's
Yeah.
not, then what's the point? I think so. They need to find a way to have a series that does that. I think movies will work if they one don't like. There's a line you have to draw. I think Most Wanted kind of crossed a line of getting too silly with it. Right? There's almost like like a like an earnest feeling quality about the Muppets where they don't see themselves any different than anybody. Right? I mean, they're Muppets, sure, but I feel like Most Wanted kind of it's kind of the difference between Ghostbusters from the 80s and the newer Ghostbusters. The newer Ghostbusters tried too hard to be funny, whereas the old Ghostbusters, they were just funny.
Right.
Right? They didn't have to throw gags at you in the
Yeah.
original Ghostbusters, whereas the Muppets, especially Most Wanted, I felt like they play with that notion that they're Muppets too much. That I kind of took it out, and I think that's what they had to find is that playing it straight works better than shoving gags at you.
Right.
And I think that works for like that's why the Ghostbusters. That's why I'm hoping the new Ghostbusters adheres to the old way they did it.
Right.
I'm hoping any kind of iteration of the Muppets goes with this notion that the Muppets do not know they're different. They're just part of the world, right? And everyone around them accepts that they're part of the world, and it's not like, you know, the whole like this is why Avatar works is because they didn't totally shove 3D down your throats. They didn't have the paddle ball with the ball going towards the screen to remind you that you're in a 3D movie. It's like, no, the environment just looked amazing because they made you feel like you were there.
Yeah.
Like the Muppets should be that same kind of thing. And again, and also remember the kids, right? Kids, the adults are not the ones to be going to Disney and wanting to go see, you know, dragging their kids to see the Muppets. You want the kids to drag the parents to go see the Muppets because they're the ones who are also going to buy all the merchandise.
Yeah.
You know?
True. Yeah, I just want them to find their way somehow, and so hopefully they will.
Yeah.
All right. So the other piece of Muppets news that I'm really excited about is that Dinosaurs finally is coming to Disney Plus in January.
We talked about this months and months and months ago.
Yeah, well, we talked about how we wanted it to be there, and it wasn't.
Is that what we were saying? Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was announced at some point, and we're just like, oh, okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah, it was just our hopes and wishes, and you know, that show actually, I watched it recently, and it's actually a really good show. You know, it's like any kind of sitcom that you'll watch. So I think that it was a lot of fun. You know, talking about trying to find that balance between kids and adults. It just has that, and has humor. It has heart. It has all these things. So I like it.
I'm assuming it's all done. Do you remember how many seasons there were?
I want to say three
or four, right?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Do we know? Are they releasing all of them?
I think so.
There you go.
Which will be really nice. I mean, Disney Plus is really building up its library, which is fantastic. Now all we need is for the Muppet Show to come.
Yes.
That would be a real cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so the Proud Family producers, Bruce W. Smith and Ralph Farquhar, have signed a multi-year deal with Disney. So that's cool. Maybe they'll develop more shows about the African community, African American community, I mean. And, which it needs, Disney Plus needs that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
good times. I wonder what those kind of deals mean. Okay, it's so you sign a multi-year deal.
Yeah.
Are you beholden to produce X amount of content, or are you just all right, you can have an office, we'll give you some money, go do whether?
I think that they have to have some kind of level of, you got to do this amount of stuff. What timeline that's on, I don't know. But obviously, if you sign a deal and then you only produce one thing, I mean, that's not great.
Unless it's the one thing that brings in, one thing was,
if there's all of a sudden Mandalorian, Mandalorian style thing.
Yeah, but even then, I'm just curious what those kind of deals, what those mean, and how that's worked out, and what kind of pressure is that? Is it oh, we have to put out one thing every year, or is it or the pressure of this freedom, okay, we can do all these things we want to do, which ones can we get off the ground?
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never, I would love to know what that is like.
I would love to have that deal, because I've got many ideas.
Yeah, there you go. They need to sign you up.
Yeah, Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney. I'm in.
Right.
What do you want to do? I want to do a shared universe with all Disney princesses. Let's go.
Yeah.
You heard of the Avengers? How about the Disney Princess Avengers?
Right. There you go.
I mean, you already got your cleric in Rapunzel, and you have your ice wizard in Elsa. So,
right.
This is throw in water wizard with Moana.
Yeah, exactly. They got all these people,
and I'll bring them all together to save the world from James Woods.
I actually would from James Woods. Yeah, I would actually love to see that. That would be a movie that I'd definitely watch. So
yeah, I mean, I'd love I've only really seen Ralph Breaks the Internet once, but I still go back to the princess scene. It's the coolest thing to see, of all of them all together. And then spoiler alert, it's been out for who long, but they help save the internet.
Yeah.
Working together. And I'm that can work. Totally make that work.
It could. Totally.
Yeah. So
anyway. All right. Moonlight cinematographer James Laxton is reteaming with Barry Jenkins on Disney's The Lion King prequel. Now, the most interesting thing to me here is that it says The Lion King
prequel. That's the first time he's seen. So this is the.
At least I have seen the first time I've seen this wording.
Okay, so this is the movie, The Lion King, sequel is now a prequel.
A prequel, yeah.
This is not a third Lion King movie, right?
So maybe this is about this is second movie, I think. So this is, I think it's going to be about Mufasa, obviously.
Well, it's got to be Mufasa, Scar.
Right. Maybe that's it. Maybe like what happened to Scar? How did he get to Scar? So it could be a good movie. It could be, there's a lot of questions that people have as to, how this happened. So I would love to. I would actually like to see that story. So I think it's better than a sequel.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Simba's story was okay. We're cool,
Right.
and it's there. But there's still like questions like what brought Scar to be Scar, and what was that relationship like? Was it going to be sort of like, not similar, but like a little bit like Thor and Loki, where they were close, and then something happens,
right?
And one brother just becomes disenfranchised with everything and resentful towards, like maybe it was Scar supposed to be something, and then Mufasa kind of overshadowed him,
right? And then how did Mufasa become Mufasa?
Right.
So,
and will young Mufasa be voiced by Hayden Christensen?
Right. Right. That would be funny.
Like now I'm wondering, like, how much of a prequel is this? Like, where are they going? Like, how much?
Yeah, I honestly think that they're going to tell Scar's story as to how he got that scar and how, why is he so bitter and things like that. So
don't Maleficent it. That's what I want to say.
I know.
Like, Scar still has to be Scar.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, he can't be the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. All right. So now there is a new Disney Plus project called Secret Guide to Celestial Creatures in the works. I have no idea what it's about. I just threw that in there. Any comments?
No. Like.
Oh, actually, I do have some details. The show is an original story written by Golamko and follows a Korean-American family of legendary guardians. So that's all I know about it.
I'm going to assume animated?
That would be cool. I
mean, Secret Guide, I don't know. Like, really kind of cool. Like, I like, if this was like legendary kind of fable tales, like the whole thing around like different cultures, guardians as well.
I love that Disney is really, becoming more diverse. Like, you think about all of the princess movies that have come out recently, and we've got Moana, we've got Raya now. It's nice to see them doing these things. I just discovered and I put this in my latest video, but have you seen this short called From Our Family to Yours? It's on Disney Plus. But have you seen it?
I don't think so.
It's like 3 minutes long. But anyway, it starts out in this village, and this little girl goes up to her father, and all of a sudden she does a mono to him. And I'm like, what? And then they go to the future, and there's a card that says to Lola, and they're making pearls. And I was like, oh my God, this is
I did see that. Okay. It was the holiday.
Yeah, the holiday one.
Yeah.
Our family, yours. Yeah.
I thought I linked it in one of our family chats.
Yeah. I like I just like the way that they just put that out there.
Yeah.
It's like and there was no kind of fanfare about it, which I kind of wish that there was, but at the same time, it's just kind of nice that they did it like that. So,
I mean, like, you know, and not to get too into this, but like, you know, obviously going to be people who always complain that like any kind of diversity storytelling is like,
right.
Oh, it's just Disney being woke and whatever. And it's like, you know, the reverse of that is like, let's call every single Disney princess movie before it the European movie.
Yeah.
Based on Snow White.
Right.
European movie based on Cinderella. And then so take that in the context of the, you know, the Chinese movie Mulan or whatever. Right. Like there's still like, okay, well, there's so many European ones. They're just going now getting other countries involved, other cultures involved.
Right.
You know, it's not that everything has to be not European based. Mm-hmm. It's just that, you know, the ratio is still off. And the world has gotten a lot more, I'll say, like, and maybe it's because we're in the U.S., but like the world's gotten a lot smaller, right? In terms of just everyone knowing that there's different cultures and whatever. You know, my world every day is filled with people who live in different countries, right? And there's such a strong similarity between all of us that we're really just one world. Like if we are in Star Wars, we are the Earthlings. We're in like, you know, we're not. None of us are looked at differently. We're just from Earth. You know what I mean?
One could say it's a small world after all.
It is. So. Yeah. My world's always been filled with a lot of diversity. So I see the world that way. Whereas, like, all right, you know, I have friends of different cultures and whatever, and it's just entertainment catching up to the way the world really is. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, it sounds like a fun program. I'm definitely going to check it out once it comes out. Something that isn't going to be coming out is the Lizzie McGuire reboot for Disney Plus. It has officially been canceled. Hilary Duff put something out there, you know, and I think it has a lot to do with disagreements as to how her character would be today. And they just couldn't reach an agreement on it. That's sad. Because Hilary Duff had a definite idea as to what it should be.
Right.
And I'm just glad that if they aren't going to do something that, you know, is genuine and, you know, that was full of forced humor, that they're not doing it. I'm glad that they're not doing it, even though I was excited to see, you know, the reboot.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really my thing, but I know a lot of people that were
excited about it.
Looking forward to it. And I'd rather, I mean, you know, for any kind of fandom like this, anything where, you know, they're bringing back characters that you loved as a kid, you would hope that it still embodied what it was like, you know, and it worked for. The thing is, it's worked in recently. Right. You know, Fuller House worked. What's the show with Boy Meets World? Is it Girl Meets World?
Girl Meets World, yeah.
That worked.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's another show that came back. I don't know what it was. But, you know, I'm like, Saved by the Bell is back.
It is?
Yeah. Saved by the Bell is back.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Zach is the governor or the mayor.
Wow.
Married to Kelly. They're like 4 of them are back.
Screech is not.
Screech is not, and Lark. I don't think she's.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, she went a little. She had a little bit of
something, some personal
issues.
Stuff.
Yeah, some personal issues. I know. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what it was, but anyway.
Yeah. So, they're still there. I mean, like the 4 popular kids.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it's on Peacock. I know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I really. Peacock. I don't have Peacock. I've been debating whether to get Peacock. I'm just kind of like, I'm just subscribed to everything. I unsubscribed to cable because it was getting expensive. And now I'm like spending way more than I ever did with cable. But I get a lot more content. So
yeah, like cable's always been, to me, you're paying a lot of money for a handful of things you really, really want.
Right.
Whereas if you just a la carte it, Disney, like I'm even thinking like I'm not sure if I want to keep Netflix much longer. Or just pick and choose, and it's like, okay, like this channel having an off season where there's nothing really I want to watch. I can cancel it for however many months, and then I can resubscribe to Netflix and catch up on the shows that are on there. And then once that's done, you know what I mean? Like I don't constantly watch Netflix. I only watch it when there's something I want to watch, and then when it's over, I stop watching.
That's true. There are some of them that are like that.
Yeah, like Disney is constant, so I always have it. I'll always have it. HBO
like CBS
Max,
All Access.
Yeah, like as soon as I start catch up with all the Star Trek stuff.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm done.
Right, exactly. Once Star Trek stuff.
Picard 2 comes out, season 2 comes out, and then back to it, and then you can pick and choose. And that month you stop your subscription to Netflix because nothing,
right,
on
right,
whatever.
Yeah, so, and then you can restart it when you find something.
Yeah, I feel like that's at least my kind of future of subscribing to things. So it'll be like I don't like Netflix used to be like the one you'd always just have. But now I feel like I don't need to have it all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I could totally shit. I should just unsubscribe to Netflix for now. Keep my Disney, because that's gonna be like, who knows when that's gonna be a lull. Especially when they're like, we're gonna have 100 new titles a year or whatever they said.
Right. Well, and we're only in our second year of our 4-year contract. I mean,
right. I mean,
so we still got another 2 and 3/4 years.
But like even Hulu itself, I don't really watch that much. So
yeah, I get my live television from it, and so that's why I keep it. I've almost thought about giving it up, but I know my mom and her husband use it to watch the news and all that stuff, and if I could figure out another news source for them, then maybe, because they don't watch any other. My mom and I watch a lot of Bravo shows, the Real Housewives and things like that. So that's the only other thing that I think that they watch. Otherwise, they watch a lot of YouTube and stuff like that. So, anywho, all right, let's move to the next story, which is Disney Plus will be adapting Megan Wallen's Turner's young adult fantasy, The Thief. Do you know anything about The Thief?
I've heard of it. I just don't know anything about it, really. But cool.
Right. I know. That's all I have to say to you. Cool. All right. So Johnny Depp will not be returning as Captain Jack Sparrow in future Pirates of the Caribbean movies, which I personally am glad about, because I just think that they need to reboot the franchise a little bit and kind of refreshen it. They just had a lot of movies with Jack Sparrow, and it just, doesn't make sense for him to be in it anymore.
Right. And they milked it for what it's worth. Like those movies were never meant to be the Jack Sparrow story.
Right.
I mean, if he didn't tap into whatever he tapped into to create that character, that was not what the writers originally intended. Like, he brought such a like such charisma and like this awkward weirdness to that character that made him the star, the breakout star of it. And then, you know, I liked first two. The third one gets kind of weird. Like they went too big with it, I think.
Yeah.
And then dial it back a little bit, but then it just became, and then you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay.
I like the fourth and fifth movies, I have to say. I did like them. The one with and Angelica, you know, the one with Penelope Cruz.
Yeah.
And
I think I like those two, at least that one. I don't remember the last one, if I watched the last one.
The last one had Orlando and
they're back. I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
The one with, was that the one with Javier
Bardem?
Yeah. Was that the fourth one?
I think it's the fifth one. The fourth one had, what's his name? Can't remember his name. He's a big actor.
The guy from it was Blackbeard.
Yeah, Blackbeard.
So I did see the fifth one then. I just don't remember. I don't remember.
I know it's hard for me to remember.
But oddly, I remember I liked them more than the third movie.
Mm-hmm. The third movie was awful.
Just parts of the third movie. I like the second one.
Yeah, it was just kind of though. I mean, it wasn't.
But because it wasn't a complete story, they pretty much made it a two-parter.
Right.
And I think because it's almost like the way I feel about the last two Matrix movies.
Right.
Like I liked 2, but because it connected so closely to 3, it took a back seat, and I'm like, it's part of. Matrix 2 and 3 are like one movie.
Yeah.
Same thing with Pirates 2 and 3. They were just like one movie where the last half of it wasn't that great because they went. Same thing with Matrix movies. Like the last half just went like bonkers. And you're like, So, because you almost can't watch 2 without finishing the story with 3, and it's like I don't want to watch 3,
right?
So I won't watch 2 again. That's the same thing with Pirates. Same thing with that. So like,
yeah.
So. But
yeah. Well, cool. All right, so Pixar Soul original soundtrack is coming out, and also going to be having 2 vinyl albums, and this will all be out tomorrow. I'm going to assume that you're going to listen to this.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I know that I'm a fan of I'm a fan of the Stephen Colbert Show, the late shows, whatever it is. His musical director, John Baptiste, is the guy who did the
score.
Not the score, because the score was like, it's like Atticus and oh my God, why am I blanking on this? And it's Trent Reznor.
Okay. Oh, okay.
The music, the character, like the jazz music, because he's a musician, right?
Right.
That's done by John Baptiste.
Okay.
And he was also consultant on it to like make sure that, you know, like the aspects of a musician's life, and especially an African American musician's life in America, was kind of portrayed, you know, closely and like whatever. Right. So I am looking forward to the soundtrack.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
me too.
I don't know if I want to hear it before I watch it.
That makes sense to me, because sometimes when you listen to something, you're not quite getting it, but then when you see it in the context of the movie, it like makes a lot more sense, and then it's more enjoyable for you to listen.
Yeah. And plus, I want to experience the movie without any, besides the trailer I saw, you know.
Right, like that it's a total surprise or total mystery.
Especially like, you know, being a musician, I'm very close to music, so like I'll have either preconceived emotions or whatever I just want to experience it as a whole, and then if I really really like it, then I mean I'll probably get it anyway. But I can't see me not wanting to get it. But I'm gonna wait until after I see it.
Yeah, and you only have 7 days.
That's so weird.
I know. 7 days for Soul and Wonder Woman 84. Ooh, I can't wait.
And
sorry to discuss the distinguished competition.
I mean, but yeah.
Yeah. You were saying and something else?
Something else comes out on the 25th, but we can move on to the next section.
Okay.
Because it ties into that.
It pertains to that.
Yeah.
All right. So we are moving to the Clone Cantina for our Star Wars news. A new installment of Disney Gallery for The Mandalorian will be coming to Disney Plus again.
On December 25th.
On December 25th. So that's when it's
That's why I'm like, and this is coming out also on December 25th.
So a lot of stuff at least this one is shorter, it's less of an investment. So yeah, it's good. What was I going to say? Are you excited about the series?
This one, because I mean, I really liked the first version of it.
Me too.
And I've always said I'm a very big behind the scenes junkie.
Right.
But this one especially because I want to hear the story of bringing Bo-Katan to the screen. I want to hear about Ahsoka.
Yes.
Coming to the
me
screen.
too.
Sorry, Dawson, and maybe they'll go dive into George Lucas's visit a little bit.
Yeah.
And talk about what they learned from the first season with the volume and stuff. And also I feel like Grogu, whatever puppetry they use, they've gotten way better at it as episodes have gone on. And I want to see the evolution of
Grogu.
Of that. And and then, more about some of the guest stars like Cobb Vanth and also Ming-Na Wen and how her character seems to
back.
I mean, not just back, but also now part of a second show. So, yeah, I mean, it's Star Wars, so of course.
I know. I'm like, oh, why am I asking even?
Nah, I'm done.
Yeah, you're like, never mind.
Never mind. What's Star Wars? What's a Star Wars?
Yeah. What's a Star Wars?
But yeah.
So this next story is actually very interesting because you had seen her in the trailer?
The trailer for the Bad Batch.
For the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ming-Na Wen is going to be reprising her role as Fennec Shand in the Bad Batch, which is a new animated show coming to Disney Plus based on the story in the Clone Wars of this group of clone troopers that are misfits.
They were
Island of Misfit Toys.
They were experimental clones.
Experimental clones.
Specific abilities heightened.
Right.
In them, which also made them a little bit different. Also, so they were also outsiders in that regard too.
Yeah.
But it's a show that takes place post Clone Wars. So the interesting thing is what, it's not going to be what do these clones do when they're no longer needed, because they're being replaced by stormtroopers at some point, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
It's interesting, and Ming-Na Wen is obviously reprising her role. She was in an interview, I don't know if it was Star Wars or Variety or something, but her role in The Mandalorian might have really just been that one episode that she was in last season, but she clicked with Dave Filoni because they're both from Pittsburgh.
Oh, interesting.
And they both went to the same high school. And
that's awesome.
They didn't. I mean, because I think she's older, but they went to the same high school, not at the same time. But I think that when Dave learned that, I think she said like he was blown, like what? And then they kind of bonded over that kind of stuff, and that's definitely got to play in her coming back, at least definitely for the Bad Batch. Like, let's explore this character because she's going to be a younger version of her character, because this takes place before the original trilogy. So
and then how many years is the Mandalorian again?
5 years after Return of the Jedi. So
5 years after.
Clone Wars ends 19 years before start A New Hope. So whenever the Bad Batch takes place, which could mean a couple years after Clone Wars ends. So this can be about 20 years. Like this will be like the 20, like probably like 20 years younger. Than her parents.
Right, which would give her that same kind of when she did Mulan. So you know she would still have that kind of experience to be able to do stuff.
And she said, you know, she plays her character now in a specific way, but then for the Bad Batch, she's, you know, she changes a little bit because she's younger, but also her demeanor and like she at this point she's a rookie bounty hunter, lone wolf kind of person, and so when we see her in The Mandalorian, she's a seasoned, warrior.
Right.
So there's a little bit of probably a naivete about her in the Bad Batch and whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I'm looking forward to it because then we can get a Fennec Shan figure.
Yeah, I know. I'm for anything keeping Ming-Na Wen in any kind of Disney thing. I am all for it. Yeah. You know that.
Yeah.
All right. So StarWars.com released a 6-minute video, which we're going to post below, featuring never before seen outtakes, bloopers, and sound bites from the crew and actors to further celebrate the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. And I was blown away by the footage that they put out because it just looked so good. I was expecting to see this really grainy kind of footage.
Yeah, because it's been 40 years, so you figure, but like a lot of it looked like it could have been filmed yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
On someone's own or whatever. And what I enjoyed was like you got to look at scenes you've seen for 40 years from a slightly different vantage point. Like the scene in Bespin where Lando leads them to that dinner table with Darth Vader, and you always see the doors open, you see Han and you see Darth Vader, and then like Han just like takes out his gun and shoots. But in this footage you see it all from behind Han Solo and them, so you see that take place in a different angle, and it's like kind of cool. You're like, but there's I like all the like outtakes and blooper stuff, like you'll see with Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford. Hearing
like
Anthony Daniels,
seeing Carrie Fisher with her hair down.
Yeah, like there's like in the Empire of Dreams documentary, there's a story that Irvin Kershner tells about Mark Hamill when they're filming the Hoth scenes, where they're like, there was so much snow, we just had Mark go outside the door of the hotel, right?
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
They showed it what it looked like, and because like in my head for the years since I've seen it, I'm like, okay, I just think like a Holiday Inn, whatever. But they actually they show Mark Hamill out in the snow doing his scene, but then they pan a little bit and you see the hotel.
Yeah,
and literally they are right outside the door, and you can see just how much like when Irvin Kershner was like the snow was like up to here, and like, all right, cool, but you see the snow, like it was like I haven't seen snow like that for like, and I lived in Chicago during blizzards, and I don't remember seeing that much snow out and about. But it's only 6 minutes, but it's worth the look. It's
I
think look back at that. So
yeah, it's worth the investment of time, I think.
yeah, I mean, it's
I
only
really
6
enjoyed
minutes.
watching it. So
Yeah.
yeah, all right. So speaking of Empire Strikes Back, Phil Tippett, who animated the AT-ATs, which is what I call them, not AT-ATs, and Empire, also animated the Scrap Walkers in Chapter 15 of The Mandalorian using old school stop motion animation, which is really cool that they didn't CGI it.
Yeah, and you could never tell. Like, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
Like,
I wouldn't either.
You know, but it's cool. I feel like that they embrace the old kind of stuff, and they brought in someone with a legacy to with Star Wars, right?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just to say, like, you know, it just goes to show that everything doesn't have to be CG. I know everyone, like a lot of people were like, just CG the Montrails for Ahsoka to make them longer, or whatever. Like sometimes it's just not cost effective.
Yeah. Although I still would have loved to see, but I understand. I'll forgive it.
Right. I mean, like, it's still a TV show, so you like. I know I've seen different TV shows blow most of their budget on like the one episode, but then everything else looks cheap afterwards, or like whatever, right? So, you know, I mean, we're talking still Disney money, so I'm sure they throw a lot of money at The Mandalorian. But you know, there's still a budget, so it's not endless money I can do.
Well, it should be endless money. They built Disney Plus on the back of The Mandalorian. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Otherwise, you know, if they blow all their budget on The Mandalorian, they'll get like a Falcon and Winter Soldier with like no effects whatsoever. They go back to like that. They're driving in a car. You could tell it's like a movie screen behind them. It's not even like good. It's like back in the 80s, the 50s, and 60s. We could totally tell it's like a projection. So.
Yeah, they take money away from WandaVision. She has no powers anymore.
Like, this is why we did it on a sitcom set, because that's all we can afford.
Yes, exactly. All right, let's move on. Unfortunately, we lost another original trilogy actor. It's so sad that all of these actors have been passed away. But Jeremy Bulloch, who played the original Boba Fett, has passed away. And that's really sad. Do we know what he passed away from?
I don't know yet. It does. Like, I think it, like today it happened, or at least it was announced. Because I follow Daniel Logan. Daniel Logan is the guy who played the young Boba Fett. And then, you know, like, because Boba Fett's come back, he's been posting a lot of pictures of him with Jeremy Bulloch, because, you know, they're always on the con circuit together. And so I thought it was just another picture of like, hey, Boba Fett's back, you know. And then I read the thing, and it's like, you know, he announced that, you know, it's sad that his friend, you know, passed away. Right. Like, what? And it sucks because, you know, Boba Fett, obviously, because of The Mandalorian, is now like back as, you know, a topic. You know, so you can imagine, like, when cons came back, like his appearances, you know, people would go even crazier because Boba Fett's back, right? So, but I'm you know, it's sad. But I think at least he got to see his legacy kind of like make a resurgence in the past week or two. So
I hope that he saw that at least.
Yeah, because like it's not just it's literally it's like the pictures that Daniel Logan posts are him, Tamora Morrison, and Jeremy Bulloch. So all the Boba Fetts are always together at whatever at cons and stuff. So they were really good friends. So
that's good. I'm glad.
I'm hoping he did. You know, Jeremy Bulloch is one of those guys I always actually saw at like Comic-Con and stuff. You know, especially like when, like I remember seeing him. I've seen Peter Mayhew. I don't think I've ever seen David Prowse in person.
Yeah.
Kenny Baker I've seen. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish, you know, the one that I wish you know, remember when we had Star Wars Celebration? Sometimes I don't think about like people passing away. And, you know, I'm like, I'll get it next time. And that's what I did with Stan Lee. And, you know, he passed away. And then Carrie Fisher, I remember thinking I would love to stand in line for Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And now I regret it. So, yeah. But I did see Jeremy Bullock at Star Wars Weekends in
at Florida.
Yeah, Florida. So I did see him.
Yeah, I've seen him in Comic-Con at San Diego.
Yeah, and I've seen what's his name? Peter Mayhew.
Yeah, you can't mistake Peter Mayhew.
No, you can't.
Like you see him in pictures, you see him like he is
right.
Chewbacca, and he's got that. It's not only that, but he's got that that mane.
Yeah.
So it's like you see, like you can see him from afar. Like even if he wasn't that tall, you'd be like, "Who's that guy with all that hair?"
He's a giant. He's a giant. Yeah. So anyway, well, very sad, and we hope that our hearts go out to his family and friends.
Yeah.
All right, so now we try on our capes and cowls for Marvel news. Marvel Studios is like game planning about new talent deals. So if their films have to move to Disney Plus, then they get a different deal. I think that it's like some kind of compensation adjustment.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense, considering there's a backlash against HBO and Warner Brothers that did that.
Right.
Unbeknownst to some of the filmmakers and actors, because you know, like actors and all the people who are involved in these movies get, you know, some of the back end on the theater, like the box office, and without that, you know, some of those, you know, some of the money that might have been made will not be made or whatever. So I think this is an answer to that kind of backlash against, to make it a little easier and at least something where they're like, this might happen, right? So they're upfront about it, which is good, I think.
I think that's good too. It'll be interesting to see if there are any films that do move to Disney Plus. I mean, like, are they maybe anticipating Black Widow might have to move to Disney Plus given its May date? Who knows?
I mean, like, we know that Florence Pugh is in it. And she is playing a character from the Black Widow movie that's by now everyone should have seen, so we would know who she is and what her deal is.
Right.
So, like, I still have a feeling they're going to have to release it prior to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Otherwise, is that going to be our introduction to the character in that TV show? And will it make sense to introduce that character then?
Right.
Post Black Widow movie, post, you know, spoilers, you know, Black Widow dies in Endgame.
Right.
So, like,
I think it's been a while.
I mean, weirdly it has been, but it's like it's literally like almost the last movie that we saw.
Right.
It's been so long, but like, you know, like, what does that mean for that character? Does that spoil anything in Black Widow? That's, you know, obviously we know she's there, so she survives. Something, unless she's like a robot, who knows? But I know they keep pushing to maybe hope that they can release it in theaters, but I don't know. Maybe they gotta have to throw in the towel and just be like, well, for the sake of the story and the sake of whatever, it has to come out before Falcon and Winter Soldier. Otherwise, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Man.
Anyway, Marvel Studios Legends is coming out on January 8th, and it is a new series that revisits some of the most iconic moments from an MCU character. So they're doing it one character at a time. They're starting off with Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and Vision. So those are going to be the two first episodes coming out in January. I can't wait. I hope that they go a little bit into the comic book story. You know, the Vision, the Scarlet Witch is such a, you know, iconic story that I feel like they need to go into that from the comics so that people can get like a feel for it and you know, because it's obviously not the same story as Vision and the Scarlet Witch, but there are elements in it that I think they're going to be using.
Yeah,
that will be very cool.
Like, is this because it does revisit some of the most iconic moments? It's not just a rehashing of just like clips, is it? Or is it they're actually going to dive into what these characters are?
From what I understand, that's what they're going to do. But, you know, I don't know. You never know. With, you know, it could just be a giant, long featurette. But I think that Marvel Studios is a little smarter than that. And I think that they will do a deep dive.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
So, yeah, me too. I definitely am hoping. I'm glad that they're coming out, starting out with Scarlet with Vision, because it'll be, you know, really cool to see their stories. They both are very fascinating characters, so it's good. All right, so Kang the Conqueror is rumored to appear in Loki. Now we know that he's going to be the villain in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. What is it called?
Quantum Mania.
Quantum Mania. Quantum Mania. And so they didn't put a release date for Ant-Man Quantum Mania. They didn't put a release date for that. But we also don't know when Loki is coming out either. So
I feel like it's this year.
Come out this year?
I think it's supposed to be like late. Well, sorry, 2021. Late 2021. So that might be the fall show because WandaVision is like next month, and then Falcon Winter Soldier is like spring.
Right.
So it might be the fall show because we know the Mandalorian is not coming back till December, so it might fall into where the Mandalorian usually was.
Yeah.
Just so there's like no competition between the two shows. Which, let's be honest, like, does that really even matter? Like if the Mandalorian and Loki came out on the same Friday, it's like, oh, I got to choose one.
Right.
Like, no, I'm gonna watch both.
Yeah. They're gonna. People are going to watch both. I mean, you know, there are always going to be those people who are just Marvel fans and not Star Wars fans. It's people who are Star Wars fans that are not Marvel fans. So there's always going to be a wealth of viewership for both.
Yeah, I mean, we paid for the thing. It's not like going to the movies where, do I want to pay for Loki or do I want to pay for Star Wars?
Right.
I'm already paying for the service, so.
Yeah. I'm just excited that we're finally going to get to an age where we're actually seeing more content than we ever have before.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't wait until we get there. All right. So here is an exciting piece of news at least for me. Jamie Alexander, who played Sif, who was absent from the last film, is returning for Thor: Love and Thunder. Yay!
Yeah, I mean, I know behind the scenes, I think they wanted her in it, but or the last movie,
the last one.
But I think because she was doing the show, that they couldn't get her. So I think like people have asked, like, so what happened to Sif? They're just like, she was just off on another adventure for a little bit.
Yeah.
So they didn't commit to her saying like she died. So I feel like they always wanted to bring her back, and it was always a question whether or not she'd come back in Love and Thunder. So I'm glad she is back because she is cool. I like Thunder.
She was one of my picks for Wonder Woman when they were trying to cast. Definitely. Yeah, I thought that she would have been amazing. Although Gal Gadot, I guess it is. Gal Gadot is I mean, there's nobody that can replace her. Just like nobody could replace Linda Carter. There's nobody that can. She is Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. So. Anywho, that's good news if she does return. All right, so Willem Dafoe and Thomas Hayden Church are rumored for Spider-Man 3, which would make this the most insane movie ever. I mean,
I'm just waiting now for like Bryce Dallas Howard comes back as Gwen Stacy. And,
I know.
Topher Grace as Venom.
Right. That would be just so funny. I wonder if they're going to have the Venom from their movie in this as well.
Right. Like, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Because it could be, I mean, it could explain why there's no Spider-Man in the Venom movie is because he's in his own universe,
Right.
So, I mean, I think it would be smart of them to do it that way. Yeah.
So, like, I just don't know what this movie is going to be.
No,
like it seems insane. Idea. Like everybody's in it.
Right.
It's like what's it called? It's like when the Arrowverse did their crossover, like everyone was in it.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything he had touched Spider-Man is in this movie. And I'm fine with it. Like bring in Dr. Connors from both franchises.
Both franchises.
The Doc Connors that we saw in the Andrew Garfield movie, but then because we only saw him as Doc Connors in the Tobey Maguire ones, but he never turned into
the Lizard.
Yeah. But we did get him to play by two actors who I actually like. So bring them all in. Just make it weird.
I know.
Just go all out and make it weird. Like I'm fine.
I think and bring in John Mulaney as Spider-Man. I think that would just bring it all together.
Yeah, and might as well throw in Nick Cage as
Nick Cage and
Spider-Noir and bring in somehow Penny.
Yeah, I think that would be incredible if they did that.
All the Gwen Stacy's meet up. It's like it's Bryce Dallas Howard and it's Emma Stone.
Yeah.
And then animated version of it, just like in the same room, going like, "What?
Right?
What is going on?"
That would be so cool.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, let's move on because this show is getting long. Marvel Studios is reportedly developing a Nomad project. And for those of you who don't know who Nomad is, Steve Rogers had kind of abandoned S.H.I.E.L.D. And he became Nomad, although they didn't really call him Nomad. And then it went on to different people and very crazy relations. So Ian Zola, who became Roger's adoptive son after the two were stranded in Dimension C, and then Ricky Barnes, who is an alternate reality granddaughter of Bucky Barnes. And then finally, there's Jack Monroe, who served as a member of Thunderbolts, and they think that that's the way that they're going to go the Jack Monroe route, because I think they're trying to do a Thunderbolts movie eventually.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's interesting. He's not the most known character, but oh well.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, so Hulu has officially canceled Hellstrom after one season. And I'm not surprised.
I was going to say, I'm not surprised. One, I didn't know it was on.
Right.
Two, and I just think, while Hulu is part of the thing, I don't think it's really part of the thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, I think that was kind of like the ugly stepchild for Marvel. It was kind of a project that they were handed after the whole shift where Marvel Television went to Marvel Studios, and I think that it was just kind of like, all right, we'll release that. And it was interesting to say the least.
I understand why it's on Hulu, like the MODOK show. Yeah. Because it's a little bit more adult aimed.
Right.
But I feel like that's also going to be something that won't be able to work because it's on Hulu.
Right. I mean, the MODOK show, I think, can also be its own thing. I mean, obviously, it's not in universe. So it can, unless they really are going to have a family of MODOKs in the MCU, which I highly doubt.
I mean, you never know.
You never know, but I don't think so.
I mean, I'm not saying it has to be part of the universe, but I feel like the show itself, I don't know how well it's going to do as a Marvel show. Like, bringing in that Marvel audience when, Hulu's, again, one of the subscription services I'm like, do I really need it?
Right. I think if they introduced MODOK in the MCU, it might be a different story, because then people at least would know who he was. But, people just randomly searching online, who have no connection to the comics are like, oh, MODOK, what is this about?
Yeah, it's like, what is this guy? Like he needs to be a Ninja Turtle villain?
Yeah. So I think they're just probably releasing what they had promised to release, and then, kind of silently brushing it away. Yeah. So anyway.
Just circle back 1 second to the Muppets. Jason Segel is his name.
Jason Segel, that's it. I knew it started with a J. So anyway,
thank you. For a little bit.
Yeah, it was killing me too, but
it just came back to me. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I had to keep the show rolling, Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's move on to Beyond the Gates for our non-traditional Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars news. So there's just a couple of stories here. There's an event series revolving around Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's relationship in the works at Hulu. Lily James, Sebastian Stan, and Seth Rogen are all set to star.
Interesting.
Interesting. But and that it's going to be a series.
Well, it's an event, so it's like I like how they're calling it event series, but really it's like another name for miniseries.
Yeah,
right?
Miniseries. Yeah.
But I guess make it sound a little more epic. It's like it's a small series. No, it's an event series.
Event series. Yeah.
But this is how I remembered Jason Segel, because sometimes I got Seth Rogen and Jason Segel mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was reading ahead, I'm like, I saw Seth Rogen to star. I'm like, Jason Segel. That was my connection. How I remembered it.
That's so funny.
But this is one, maybe because we're old enough to still remember Pamela Anderson and Tommy
And
Lee.
Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah.
I'm like, it seems like out of nowhere. Like, just like, well, we feel like doing a show about these two people. Because they're not really relevant anymore. Like, I don't know where they're at anymore.
Yeah. Although I have seen Pamela Anderson recently on some game show, I want to say, and she actually looks really great. I mean, she looks less, buxom,
plastic,
and more just like normal.
Yeah,
and
she's one of those, like, when she was on, like, I don't know if people remember, she was on Tool Time, or not Tool Time. What's it called? What's the show? Home Improvement. Home Improvement.
Yeah.
With Tim Allen. I
didn't know that.
She was the original, like, they had the Tool Time girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like in the first season, and she was there, and she looks. If you saw her picture and then saw her later, you couldn't tell it's the same person. Like, she looked more natural, more whatever.
Right.
I think she looked way better before she became Pamela Anderson.
Yeah. She looks so much better now than she did.
Looked really wholesome. I mean,
right.
Like, she was still a Playboy Playmate, but whatever. But like, she still looked like
She didn't look like over exaggerated. She
didn't get glammed up and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like, Netflix had this show, movie based on Motley Crue, the life of Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And so, I grew up in the 80s and I loved like hair bands, so I watched it. It was actually a really good show, and like Tommy Lee's story, I don't know how accurate it is, because it's based off the book, which is also kind of co-written, at least approved by all the members of Motley Crue. But it's like his story in that beginning of that band makes him more interesting. Like, he was like a normal kid. of the four craziness personalities of Motley Crue. So part of me, when I first saw this, I was like, do we really? And then I'm like, that could be interesting.
I know. I'm kind of interested in watching it, so I probably will.
I'm like, who's Seth Rogen starring as?
Yeah, I know. I want to know who Seth Rogen is starring.
I'm like, who could that be that's in their lives that
who's Seth Rogen-esque,
right? That can he become someone else and not be Seth Rogen?
Yeah, I know. That would be nice to see. Is if he, like Robin Williams and
Jim Carrey,
Billy Crystal, and even Whoopi Goldberg were able to kind of break out of their, classic, the way that people think of them, and become more serious actor. I would like to see that with him.
Yeah, I can see him being able to do it. So that's why I'm like, I wonder who it, like, because he's got to be playing someone real. So I'm like, I wonder. I mean, I don't really know the life of Tommy Lee and Pamela, so I couldn't even tell you who that could be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, all I know is them. So.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, moving on. Seth MacFarlane is producing a Revenge of the Nerds reboot at 20th Century Studios, and the Lucas brothers are set to star.
Who are the Lucas brothers?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know
George and Phil Lucas. They're starring in this.
But I feel like I was just talking about this series with somebody.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've ever seen any of the like made for TV like sequels to it.
I know that I did, but I could not tell you what.
But like the first Revenge of the Nerds was, the teen romp comedy with
We are the champions.
Which probably wouldn't work well with audiences today. Like, there's a lot of problematic.
Yeah, a lot of.
But I feel like they moved away from that later in the series. But then it went straight to like TV movie. But I feel like Seth MacFarlane can make a modern version of it without having to resort to raunchiness.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, like, yeah, this is the Family Guy, but he's also the Orville guy.
Yeah.
And he's also the Cosmos guy. So.
Right. I think that he can come up with something that would be tasteful, but yet hilarious. He's a good parody guy. And,
like outside, literally outside of Galaxy Quest, Orville is like the best homage to Star Trek that we have.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. It's like one of the best.
Yeah. So I hope it works, because I mean, obviously it's a product of the 80s. So, but I like the Revenge of the Nerds movies. So, flaws and all, but
yeah.
I also like Blazing Saddles, and that's very problematic today.
Right.
But
yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff that had like even Clue has some humor that probably would not work today. I let certain things go because it is so funny nonetheless. So I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'll turn your back on the family film.
Right. Yeah. There has to be like a happy medium between, having this kind of, film and not, that has a little bit of that kind of raunchiness, that kind of Seth Rogen humor, but not being totally, unaware
80s.
of stuff that's been going on.
Penny raids and
other
malicious acts.
Yes, I know, exactly. A lot of sexist acts.
I mean, it's a family show, so I wanted to get into it. But there's really, if you watch it, going like, oh my God, did this really happen? That definitely would not fly. And it was like, for comedic reasons. And back then you're like, ha ha ha. But now you're like, ooh.
Oh, back then it was so funny. But now you're like, it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, you think about it. But
yeah. All right. Well, we have come to the end of our long program. Be sure to leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast to help us be found. Share our posts with your family and friends on your social sites. And again, if you are watching this on YouTube, which most of you probably are, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post. It really helps us out. You can also reach us at podcast@castlescapesandclones.com. Leave us your feedback, good and bad. We'd love to hear from you. And you can reach me personally at @LowJab on Twitter and @Loren Javier on Instagram. Oh, how about you, Rich? Sorry.
You can reach me on both Instagram and Twitter at R2Romasanta. That's R, the number 2, then Romasanta.
All right. So the opinions expressed on today's podcast are solely our own and do not represent the Walt Disney Company, its subsidiaries, or assets. So with that, we bid you adieu. Goodbye.
Catch you on the flip side.